Well, today we are looking at something that has piqued my curiosity since it was announced about a month ago. I managed to get a hold of one of Super 7's new Target exclusive Super Kaiju Godzilla. Godzilla 89 to be particular. Unfortunately, they didn't have the Mecha Godzilla in stock, so I take what I can get. What is Super 7 doing? Well, it looks like they are offering their Ultimate lines at a retail value. Now, if you've watched my video on some of the other Ultimates, you know that I'm a big fan of them. I know the line started off a little rough, but they have gotten miles better since that first wave of Biollante and Godzilla. So the idea of scaling down their Ultimates is an intriguing prospect. I know they're actually doing it with other figures of their other Ultimate lines, mostly Thundercats. But the big difference here is that the Ultimate line is about 7-8 inches. This is standing about 5.5, 6. So we're going to open this up, see how it compares and contrasts to the Ultimate line, and what you are really getting for your $35. So let's look at the box. Comes in this nice shiny black box. One thing I do love about Super 7, they do care about their packaging. And considering that this is going on store shelves, this isn't just a standard reaction or some of the more blind boxy stuff. This is their attempt at getting their action figure line onto retail stores. So not talking about comic book stores, collector stores, or anything like that. This is legit. You can go into a Target, pick it up. So now this was in the collector section, meaning it's with all the NECA stuff and not with the, Transformers, Spider-Man, Marvel stuff, which is a shame. It probably should be, but considering the price, and these are aimed technically at adult collectors, I understand going a little above and beyond with the packaging. So as you can see, it's got this nice shiny gloss to it. Godzilla's nice little artistic interpretation. So there we go. As you can see, the Ultimate Kaiju line there. So here on the back, and the gloss really stands out. Like, look, you can actually kind of see my reflection, if you will. The camera's all wonky, so you can kind of see the reflection in there. Yeah. So these are the first two of the line. So hopefully this thing sells well enough that we get more figures out of it, because more Godzilla is always good. And just give you a quick look at what's right there. And then the window, bottom. Now, you shouldn't need a barcode. These are available on Target.com. So if you can't find them at your local store, you can just order them and they will ship right to your house. So now let's crack this bad boy open. All right. So looks like it's just a standard plastic card. Comes right on out. Okay, let's get that out over here. All right, so what we got is a piece of and that is in there. That did not want to come out at all, but it looks like he is. Yep. So we come back to that. That took a minute. So this guy was strapped in. That felt like he was vacuum sealed into that plastic casing. But nonetheless, he is out. So now we can properly take a look at this bad boy. So right off the bat, I am getting the full vibes of the Bandai Namco line. He stands roughly the same height as those figures, the Godzilla Mecha Godzilla that I reviewed, that you can check out on our channel. So let me get this out of the way for a second. So as you can see, this is roughly a new sculpt. It looks completely brand new from the 89 Ultimate figure that they did. Obviously the big difference is he is scaled way down from what that 89 figure is. The 89 is roughly 8 inches. He's about 5 inches. So there's a big difference in size already. Articulation. Let's look at the articulation. So he's a little stiff out the box. So let's get him all loosened up. So as you can see, he has full arm rotation, not unlike his ultimate counterpart. So there is joint movement in the elbow. So there you get full twist and turn. So that's good. Full articulation there. Hand is pretty locked in, so you get the wrist turn. So he is very stiff. He's very stiff. No movement at the waist. So a big difference from the ultimate figure. The hips do have full movement. So there you go. Movement at the knee. Twist at the thigh, or the calf, if you will. And so articulation ball joint right there at the foot. So he is pretty articulated for a 5-inch figure, which is pretty good. Head has full movement. There you go. There we go. Now the tail is my one thing I'm looking at right here that's a little wonky in my opinion. So this actually feels, and this is rubbery. Okay, so that's why. So the tail, it looks like it has a wire on the inside that will allow you to maintain a particular look. So the tail in itself is very rubbery, which means it's going to have a wire armature on the inside, so that way you can bend and shape it. Now this does look like it's limited to the end of the tail for the most part, but you can get the stance up like that and a little bit of a twist to give you some, there you go, some posability. So this is an interesting feature. I can see why they did it. It does keep costs down because now you're not tooling whole segments that raise the price of the figure, much like the $85 you're going to pay for the standard Ultimate figures. So interesting choice. You feel he's a little right there. Feels like that's where the pivot's at. Now, my one problem with doing a wire, as a kid who grew up in the 80s and 90s, the rubber wire was a staple of a lot of toys. Again, it's a cost-cutting measure, but it does allow for some posability. The problem is that it's a wire. You bend a wire so many times, it will eventually pop and snap. So, considering that these are aimed at adult collectors, I'm figuring that Super 7's thinking that, well, an adult's not going to bend the hell out of it and probably break it, but most likely a parent's going to buy this for their kid, and yeah, that's probably going to break sooner or later. So as for the paint job, he's a solid matte black. The spines do have actually some nice airbrushing to them. Again, the tail, since it's just this big hunkin' chunk of rubber, you get a little bit of that in there, but it's, yeah, so you can see the difference right here. So because of the rubber to the plastic, the paint is going to pop a little bit differently, and that is slightly noticeable, but it's not a deal breaker for me. So you get a little movement right there. So I will say that this piece right here, now, they don't really hide it. This is the one thing I could argue about, is not continuing the paint job up. To be fair, Bandai is very guilty of doing the same thing. I don't know why, just a little airbrush right there. Can't hurt anything. As for his sculpt, well, I'm going to be honest. It's not my favorite. He's kind of got a bit of a chunky face. So this chunky face is, look, it's not the worst thing in the world. I have seen far worse, but it doesn't really look like the 89-ish. It's just the standard kind of Heisei look that this era of Godzilla had. So it's the cheeks, the nose. The eyes are a little... I mean, they're not badly painted, but it's just something about the facial sculpt that is throwing me off. So his jaw is articulated, and inside is painted. So I give Super 7 credit on that. They go for the detail. The teeth are a different shade of white from the rest. They do match the claws, as you can see there. So there is that. So yeah, he's an interesting oddity, if you ask me. Now, he does come with an accessory, which is this little piece of rubble, broken building. Now, I know a lot of people, they have clamored. I have seen fans clamor. They want some buildings for dioramas and scenery. So Super 7 has provided. The thing with their Ultimate line is that usually you're getting extra hands, extra, heads, facial pieces, stuff like that. At least here they're offering a little extra bonus of this kind of molded, it's a hard piece of plastic. It is hollow, but it does allow to give you like a great stance for Godzilla's destruction. Whether or not that's in scale, that's neither here nor there. $35. Is this worth $35? That is a good question. I would say the 85 that I paid for the -1 was well worth it. Love that figure. Excellent. I've been pretty high on a lot of Super 7 stuff, and I do appreciate them trying to expand. I'll say this is not the worst Godzilla figure I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of junky figures. If anything, he does harken back to the era of Trendmasters for me. I'm getting a very big Trendmasters vibe off this guy. The difference is Trendmasters went with a little more stylized. I understand they can't, Super 7 can't do that. They are under license obligations with Toho, and thus things have to be approved. So this is supposed to be the Biollante Godzilla, but he looks more in line with that weird bank that some company put out that wasn't officially licensed bank that you might see at FYE. This is what reminds me of that more than anything else. So, yeah, I would say this is, if this was a $25 figure, great. The Bandai Namco's are $25. Those are full articulated action figures, and their sculpt is pretty good. Super 7's offering, which is $10 more. Sculpt is decent. Like I said, the face is what's really throwing me off here, and the fact that the tail is not segmented and it's this rubber piece, that is that's kind of bringing this guy down for me. Now, I try to be positive with my toy reviews. I don't like openly being negative, but I will be honest. So overall, if you have kids, if you're an adult watching this and you have kids, perfect for kids. Now, it might be a little expensive, but knowing Target does do sales a lot, so this might be something that you can pick up on sale probably around Christmas time, most likely. And it's good for them. This is actually great for small kids. Like I said, the one thing that will be the problem is the tail, but if you want to give your kid a very cool Godzilla figure to play with, this is in line with that. This is a perfect action figure. It's just a little costly at the moment. I would say if they could bring it down to $25, that would work a lot better. I did see the Bandai Namco's on the shelf as well, along with this guy, and those at Target are $25 and roughly the same size, and you get articulation at least in the tail, but the difference with those is you kind of got to put those together. This guy already comes right out the box ready to go, sans being vacuum sealed in the dang thing. So overall, it's a solid B-. Now, it is the first of this line, much like Super 7's first foray into the Ultimate line. Starting off a little shaky, but Super 7 has shown me time and time again, give them a generation or two, and they will deliver the goods. So this being the first time doing this, and I'm assuming this is part of whatever partnership that they're doing with Target, that they're still working out the kinks. It's not a bad start, but there is room for improvement. I'll say that. Well, there you have it. That is my review of Godzilla 98 Super 7 Super Kaiju figures. Again, these are available exclusively at Target, not through Super 7. So if you want to get a hold of one of these bad boys, you can go to Target's website. That's probably the easier way to do it, other than toy hunting, unless you're a toy hunter and you like the thrill of the chase. Good figure, not a great figure. So, and remember, if you like what you see, we do have a show. It's called the Kaiju Kingdom Podcast. You can find us at thekaijukingdompodcast.com. And if you don't like to download, you can find us on all of your favorite podcast services, including Apple, Spotify, or wherever else you might find better podcasts. We're also on social media. Check us out right there. There's listings, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Give us a follow, give us a like, and give us some feedback. If you want to get a hold of us, this is the way to do it. And on that note, that will wrap it up for this edition of the Koffers. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.